Hello there. My name is Dr. Matute, University of Arkansas, PTC, and this is a quick review of the lymphatic system for Human Anatomy and Physiology 2. When you took A&P 1, we discussed that there are 11 organ systems in the human body. Out of those 11 organ systems, they could be grouped into functional similarities. When we regroup those 11 organ systems into functional similarities, we'll end up with 6 groups. One of those groups was transport. And for the transport group, we have 2 organ systems, the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. So in other words, the lymphatic system is a transport system. The lymphatic system has also been described as an assist system or a helper system. Why? Because it carries out many functions that are principal functions of other organ systems. It carries out many functions that are principal functions of other organ systems. We should be able to see that by the end of this brief presentation. Now let's quickly look at the functions of the lymphatic system. We could summarize them as thus. Protection. Now, how do they protect us? Via filtration and destruction of pathogens. So they filter substances before they are allowed to circulate in the body. They also destroy pathogens or foreign materials. Drainage of excess fluid. The lymphatic system drains excess fluid. Otherwise, this excess fluid will accumulate in tissues. It will clog or block tissues, and therefore edema may actually arise. So it prevents edema. Transportation. The lymphatic system transports proteins. It also transports leaked fluids back to the circulatory system, precisely the venous system. Antibody production. Antibodies, they provide us with chemical immunity. Lymphocyte production. Lymphocytes are small white blood cells that are principal cells of the immune system. Absorption. The lymphatic system absorbs lipids in the small intestine and transport those lipids to the liver. So to summarize the functions of the lymphatic system, we have protection, we have drainage of excess fluid, we have transportation, we have production of antibodies and lymphocytes, and we have absorptions. Functional relationships. The lymphatic system has a functional relationship with the following organ systems: circulatory organ system, the immune system, the skeletal system, and the digestive system. Circulatory system, immune system, skeletal system, and digestive system. Now with the skeletal system, lymphocytes, which are white blood cells, they are produced in bones. That's where the skeletal system comes in. So you should be able to go back to the functions of the lymphatic system, which we just discussed now. You also have that in your study materials, and then see if you can actually match that with the functional relationship of these other organ systems that have just been listed out. One more time, they are the circulatory system, immune system, the skeletal system, and the digestive system. Lymphatic vessels. Lymphatic vessels, they are described as a one-way system. One-way system because they only transport lymph. They transport lymph towards the heart. They transport lymph towards the heart, which means they are only associated with the venous system. The venous system transports blood back to the heart. Structure of lymphatic vessels. They are thin-walled, large lumen, valved, and they are low-pressure vessels. So there are 4 characteristic features of lymphatic vessels. They are thin-walled, they have a large lumen, they are valved, and they are low-pressure vessels. Compare these 4 characteristic features with veins, which we covered before. You should be able to tell whether there's a similarity there or if there's a difference between them. Sequence of lymph flow. So one main function of the lymphatic system is when blood is circulating in the human body, some of it leaks out of the circulatory system. When it leaks, when some of what is contained in blood vessels leaks out, it is scooped. It is scooped by the lymphatic system and then returned to the circulatory system, because these substances that leak out, they are still required by the body. So let's look at the sequence by which these substances are returned, by which this leaked fluid, which is what we call now the lymph, how it is returned to the circulatory system. So it begins from the lymph capillaries. So spot number 1 is the lymph capillaries. Then from there it is transported to the lymphatic collecting vessels. Lymphatic collecting vessels. From there to the lymphatic trunks. Lymphatic trunks. And then from there to the thoracic duct. Thoracic duct or the right lymphatic duct. Thoracic duct or the right lymphatic duct. Circulatory system, then it ends up in the circulatory system, precisely the venous system. So one more time, the sequence of lymph flow back to the circulatory system. So it starts from the lymph capillaries, then the lymphatic collecting vessels, lymphatic trunks, thoracic duct or right lymphatic duct, and then it ends up in the circulatory system. Lymphoid cells, lymphocytes. So we're looking at the cells that are found in the lymphatic system. The first one we're looking at is the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes. They are made with the red bone marrow. That's where the skeletal system comes in. And the lymphocytes are of 2 classes. We have the T lymphocytes or T cells, and then we have the B lymphocytes or B cells. T as in Tom. The second type of cells are the macrophages. Macrophages, they protect the body. Their macrophages are a type of white blood cells. They protect the body, but they also are important in activating the T lymphocytes. T lymphocytes needs to be activated before they can become functional. The third type of cell is the dendritic cells. Dendritic cells. They are found in lymphoid tissues, and they are also involved in the activation of T cells or the T lymphocytes. Then we have the reticular cells. Reticular cells. They produce the stroma. So if you look at the structure of a lymph node, you should be able to see the stroma. They produce the stroma and it supports other cell types. This stroma supports other cell types. So there are 4 types of lymphoid cells: lymphocytes, macrophages, dendritic cells, and reticular cells. Of these 4 types of cells, functionally, the reticular cells are the odd one out because they are not directly involved with the business of protecting the body. They support the other 3 cells. Lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are considered to be the primary lymphoid organs, the primary lymphoid organs. Why are they considered to be the primary lymphoid organs? Number one, they filter lymph, and they destroy pathogens or antigens. So they filter lymph, they destroy any pathogens that they may be in the lymph, and then thereafter they will return the lymph to the circulatory system, That way they are protective. Now, how about the structure of a lymph node? The lymph node has three principal regions, and it also has two types of functional lymphatic vessels attached to it. Three anatomical regions and two functional types of lymphatic vessels attached to it. We have from the outside to the inside, we have the capsular region. The capsular region is external and it's made up of the fibrous capsule. Then if we come to the internal portion of the lymph node is called the stroma. The stroma is subdivided into two regions. We have the cortical region that we have immediately below the capsular region, and then below the cortical region we have the medullary region. So there are three regions from the outside to the inside: capsular region, cortical region, and the medullary region. Then the vessels. We have the afferent lymphatic vessels and the efferent lymphatic vessels. The afferent, A-F-F-A-R-A-N-T, the afferent lymphatic vessels, they bring in lymph into the lymph node for filtration. The efferent lymphatic vessels, efferent, E-F-F-E-R-E-N-T, it takes filtered lymph out of the lymph node. The spleen. The spleen is the largest lymphoid organ. It is found just below the diaphragm. It is found in the abdominal cavity, precisely on the left side of the abdominal cavity. Some of the main functions of the spleen include: it removes old and defective red blood cells, platelets, and foreign materials. It removes old and defective red blood cells, platelets, and other foreign materials. Now, it provides a proliferation site for lymphocytes. Proliferation means increase in number. So it provides a site where lymphocytes can reproduce themselves and increase in number. So remember, lymphocytes are white blood cells that are very important in the immune system. Then the spleen also provides a site that can be used as a watch site, surveillance as a watch site. So antibodies or immune cells can actually camp there and then watch out for any pathogens that might actually enter the body so that they can be attacked immediately. Now, there are two centers. If you're looking at a diagram or a structure of a spleen, there are two centers there that are of importance. We have the white pulp and the red pulp. White pulp and red pulp. So if you go past the fibrous capsule, you move in, you want to see the red pulp and white pulp. The white pulp has lymphocytes in it. The red pulp has macrophages in it. So these macrophages and lymphocytes, they can reproduce themselves, right, in the spleen. The thymus. The thymus. The thymus is found just a little bit above the heart, and it produces a hormone called thymosin. Thymosin. Thymosin is important in making the T lymphocytes become immunocompetent. Thymosin is important in making T lymphocytes to become immunocompetent. That way they can protect us. Tonsils. Tonsils are found in lymphoid tissues, and they are a form of lymphoid tissues, and they form a ring around the opening of the pharynx. They form a ring around the opening of the pharynx. They gather and they remove pathogens that enters the pharynx with food, water, or air. And they trap these pathogens and they produce antibodies that kill these pathogens. Tonsils are a type of lymphoid tissue. They form a ring around the opening of the pharynx, over here, and they gather and they remove pathogens that enter the pharynx with food, water, and air. They trap these pathogens and they produce antibodies that will kill these pathogens. Clusters of lymphoid follicles. They are found, these are other protective structures of the lymphatic system. They are called the clusters of lymphoid follicles. They are found in the small intestine. They are found in the Peyer's patches. Peyer's patches are a group of lymphocytes. They are found in the appendix. So clusters of lymphoid follicles are found in the small intestine, the Peyer's patches, and the appendix. They form antibodies and they filter pathogens and or antigens. Components of lymphoid follicles: B cells, T cells, and dendritic cells. So the B lymphocytes, the T lymphocytes, and dendritic cells. Now, very quickly, let's look at some important structures to note when looking for lymphatic system activities in the human body. Lymph nodes. For example, the inguinal and the axillary. The inguinal lymph nodes will be found somewhere on the upper thigh towards the anogenital regions of the body. The axillary nodes are found in the armpit area. Lymphatic vessels, gastrointestinal or intestinal lymphatic system. So that will be number 3. Gastrointestinal or intestinal lymphatic system. This consists of 4 organs: small intestines, large intestines, the appendix, and the stomach. Number 4, the tonsils. You find the tonsils around the pharynx, around the mouth, around the nose. Number 5, the spleen. And then number 6, the bones, precisely the red bone marrow where the lymphocytes are actually made.